A wintry stream of traffic wends its way across Stockholm's eastern sea approach. Small wooden 18th century buildings still stand there. They have survived fire and waves of demolition. Earlier, clustered wooden dwellings dominated the growing city. Up here, on the Katarina Hill, several wharf laborers lived. Life here was hard. Dangerous too. In 1723, 500 dwellings had been destroyed in a devastating fire. Thousands were made homeless. Katarina Church was also struck by the fire, an event which repeated itself in 1990. Fortunately, the church could be restored to its 18th century form. Sweden's age as a great European power was over. The monarchic autocracy was no more. Nonetheless, Parliament decided to have the royal palace completed. Nicodemus Tessin lived to see work begun on his magnificent palace according to his design. Carl Larsson's fresco in the National Museum depicts the elderly architect on the construction scaffolding. A year later, Tessin was dead. Close by, in Stortorget, is the City Hall. It has been rebuilt again and again since medieval times. Radical measures need to be taken. In 1727, Johan Eberhard Karlberg is appointed chief city architect. He immediately sets about drawing plans for an edifice which in splendor is a match for the palace. But construction is postponed. Yet he undertakes other major and minor projects. He gives instructions, he brings projects which have lagged behind up to date. Since all new building plans in Stockholm must be passed by him personally, a large archive of drawings accrues, a heritage unique in the world today. Commissioned by the Crown, he designs this large warehouse, which can store over 3,000 tons of grain. The city toll gates are in disrepair. Karlberg makes drawings for all the city entrance points. In the midst of ever-increasing modern-day traffic, you can still see Karlberg's toll house from 1732. The spot was more idyllic when captured by a photographer in about 1860. He also plans scales, guardhouses, warehouses and cookhouses for shipping. The danger of fires started by ships' galleys must be taken into account. That too is why quays and bridges are to be built in stone rather than wood. At several points in the city, Karlberg commissioned premises for the City Watch. In this picture, one such can be discerned to the left. The demolition is for a new elegant Gustav Adolf Square. Johan Eberhard Karlberg's best-known work is the renovation of Storkyrkans facade and tower, which he adapts to Tessin's new Baroque palace. In the 1730s, Karlberg worked on new building regulations. A map of the city layout of the time was necessary. Here we can see new straight streets and how building now stands on the city's surrounding hills. The building regulations of 1736 were aimed principally at reducing the risk of fires. Only buildings of stone were to go up, and the firefighting resources had to be modernized. The city was also to be enhanced. Facades and color schemes were to be more uniform. Stockholm took on the lighter character we see in Sevenbom's picture of the city. And we can see the result of Karlberg's key plans. It was the urgent need to rebuild the Slussen Locks area that got fortification captain Karlberg to leave Gothenburg for Stockholm. Over the ensuing decades, he suggested several plans for Slussen. But that genius of invention, Christopher Polhem, produced the final technical solution. Fire still threatened the city. In 1746, a group of property owners founded the first ever fire insurance company. If fire broke out, the joint owners would mutually support each other. There was only one form of insurance. You paid a single premium, once and for all. Insured buildings displayed this very suitable symbol, a phoenix, the mythological bird that rises from the ashes of its predecessor. But there were soon setbacks. In 1751, the grey tone part here of the Klara area was struck by a great fire. 221 buildings were gutted and St. Clara Church was badly damaged. Only 8 years later, a similar fire swept over Mariaberget. 300 buildings were destroyed. St. Maria Church lost its beautiful tower. The fire insurance company had to borrow to survive. But as property owners saw the advantages of insurance, many more joined the venture. The fires gave Karlberg new opportunities for redevelopment. He contributed too by proposing watchtowers along the Stockholm Ridge. He had accepted talented young men for training as architects and master masons. This training is his pride and joy. By 1760, he had trained no less than 28 skillful fellows, among them his own son, Johan. But both Johan and most of the others had, in death, departed. One pupil who survives is Erik Palmstedt. He was eventually allowed to make drawings for the large building in Stortorget Square that Karlberg had dreamt of erecting. Others became enterprising master masons, like Per Westrell, with this examination drawing from 1746. Erik Roos was later to become the elder of the Guild of Stonemasons. His workforce was unusually sizable. He constructed 106 buildings. Henrik Walmstedt became a master in 1768, having become one of the first to have coped with exceptionally problematic sites for his projects. Slussen had been Karlberg's first assignment in Stockholm. His final one was for Slussen 2. These are drawings for an eel trap to be used at Slussen, made when he was 88, which would explain the shaky signature. Johan Sevenbom's view from the Brunnsbacken hill at Slussen is from 1773, the year of Karlberg's death at 90. In the center of the picture we see one of Karlberg's cookhouses. It disappeared long ago, as did so much he had produced for the city. His works characterized the capital during Sweden's Age of Liberty, the 45-year span between the autocracies of two sovereigns.